After suffering a major defeat in Kharkiv, northeast Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered a partial mobilization that will call up to 300,000 reserves and warned Western countries that Moscow will use nuclear weapons to defend its territory. The move makes Putin's biggest escalation of the war in Ukraine since launching the invasion in February 24. The Russian leader also expressed support for referendums on joining Russia that will be held in each area of Russian-controlled Ukraine. Putin said that the focus will remain on liberating the Donbas region. Russia and Russian-backed forces in the region currently control virtually all of the Luhansk Oblast, but Ukraine still controls a portion of Donetsk. After invading Ukraine over 6 months ago, Putin believed he could win the war with limited resources, but this has now caught up with him. It remains to be seen if Russia can still achieve victory in Ukraine. Protests have continued to spread in multiple cities across Iran in reaction to the death of a young woman who died in police custody. The protests erupted when Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old woman who was detained by Iran's morality police, died while in custody. After Amini's death and widespread public outcry, Iranian government officials acknowledged the death and reached out to her family. President Ibrahim Raisi, ahead of his trip to New York for the UN General Assembly, spoke to Amini's family and said that the authorities would investigate the cause of her death. However, as protests have spread, much of Iranian media coverage changed. They are now more focused on the violence, referring to the protests as riots. This event is just the latest in a long line of issues that has seen Iranians turn against the clerical regime. The economic situation is dire for most Iranians, and international sanctions and the COVID lockdown have exacerbated existing tensions with the clerical regime, who uses a heavy hand to maintain power in the country. This week, in a small town in the UK, a tense standoff took place between Hindutva supporters and local Muslim residents who have lived in the UK town of Leicester for decades. The Hindutva ideology that had seen lynchings and killings in India has seen crowds of up to 200 Hindu men marching in the city, with some shouting Jai Shri Ram, Hail Lord Ram, a war cry for far-right Hindus in India. This led to Muslims coming out on the streets, leading to scuffles. Police in Leicester didn't stop the original Hindutva marches and have been accused by community leaders of siding with the Hindutva mobs. Officers reportedly arrested 47 people since the 28th of August. Some of the issues which give rise to the events at the weekend are undoubtedly international, said the Leicester Mercury, citing Indian Prime Minister Modi's nationalist rhetoric and increasingly harsh treatment of Muslim minorities. The UK has around 1 million Hindus, with the vast majority not supporting Hindutva, but a tiny minority would appear to have been emboldened with events back in India and seem to be looking to expand in the UK.